I didn't cry when they tore down the town library. But when the old oak fell, the one my great-grandfather planted, I felt something deep inside me snap. The man behind it all was Richard Hale, a developer with a diamond watch and a paper heart. He promised the townsfolk progress, said old things had to make way for luxury. But I knew this land, its creeks, its roots, and the stories buried beneath. My family's been here for 100 years. We mapped this soil before his granddaddy learned to spell. He laughed when I told him the ground remembers. I guess he thought curses were just bedtime stories. They started digging and unearthed bones older than the town itself. I told them to stop. But greed doesn't listen, and silence doesn't forgive. That night, thunder came without rain. The kind that shakes your bones before it breaks your heart. By morning, the foreman was gone, his truck still running, headlights burning into the fog. Sheriff said coyotes. But coyotes don't drag men uphill against the wind. Richard didn't stop. He doubled his crew, poured concrete over the bones, and built his empire. Within weeks, Hale Plaza stood tall, glass, steel, and arrogance. The grand opening was pure spectacle, ribbon cutting, fireworks, smiles. But the land wasn't smiling. It began as a whisper, wind seeping through cracks that shouldn't exist. Then came the rumble. Not from engines, from the ground itself. The earth split open like it was exhaling centuries of anger. Richard's Plaza, his monument to greed, vanished in minutes. They called it an earthquake. But I've lived here 64 years. This ground doesn't quake, it remembers. When they pulled Richard out, he was clutching an old silver coin, one we buried with our dead a century ago. Some say he dug too deep. Others say the dead dug themselves out. I think the land just wanted balance. Now, every time it rains, the water runs clear again. Like the soil's finally breathing easy. People still whisper about the developer's curse. But I call it something simpler. Justice, written not by law, but by land. Because no matter how deep greed digs, the earth always remembers who listened and who didn't. And sometimes, all it takes is one storm to settle the score. They'll tell stories for years, about curses, ghosts, and karma. But those of us who've worked the land, we know better. It wasn't a curse that took Richard Hale. It was consequence, and the earth finally cashing its debt. Now the oaks are growing again. Wildflowers cover what used to be greed. And when I walk the ridge, I swear I hear roots moving beneath, whispering thanks. My grandfather used to say, the earth doesn't need revenge, just time. And I've waited long enough to see him proven right. So let them build and let them fall. This land doesn't forget. Because when you build over history, history builds right back. And when the storm finally comes, remember, it's not revenge. It's reminder. That's the truth of the developer's curse. And I'll carry it till the earth takes me too. Because some stories don't end. They just return, like roots after rain. They'll call it folklore, superstition, a warning. But me? I call it truth written in soil. Water may win battles, but the earth wins wars.